I knew exactly what to expect when jumping into Gravity Rush 2. I was fortunate enough to try out a preview build during E3 of last year. It was the same Gravity Rush gameplay I enjoyed from the first installment, with a few new tweaks and fighting styles included. Now, fast forward 7 months and I've spent plenty of time with the full game, and luckily, these new features and more will ensure you hours of enjoyment. Prepare for a bold statement. Gravity Rush 2 is one of the best looking PlayStation 4 games. That's right, I said it. But here's where things get confusing. The game isn't always consistent with its beauty. In other words, some places look better than others. Earlier towns and areas in the game are seriously breathtaking, putting so many games that use the same art style to shame. Breath of the Wild, I'm looking at you. Towns are bursting with color and definitely feel more lively than the original Gravity Rush's towns. It was also really impressive that I'd rarely see two NPCs that looked identical. Unfortunately, later towns in the game lack the same amount of polish and vibrant colors. Maybe it was a stylistic choice, but I was hoping to see more gorgeous areas in the game. That being said, this game does offer more variety with its environments this time around. The comic book art-styled cutscenes make a return, and they are once again a lot of fun to read. The game's overall localization was done very well. I laughed out loud multiple times throughout the game. The cutscenes and character interactions are much more memorable in Gravity Rush 2 compared to the original. Speaking of characters, Gravity Rush 2 introduces a bunch of new faces, and some mystery familiar faces as well. However, main protagonist Kat outshines them all with her convivial spunk and charm. She's witty, funny, and genuinely cares about others around her. I was pleasantly surprised with how much more likable Kat was in this game. How is Gravity Rush 2's gameplay? If you've played the original, there isn't a ton that has changed, which has its ups and its downs. One thing I love about Gravity Rush is I truly feel like a superhero. Much like the Infamous series, I feel like a badass when I'm taking out enemies. Mixing up attacks and stringing together kills has never been better, and with this sequel comes two new fighting styles for Kat, and they are both pretty fun to use. One adds weight to Kat, she's a lot stronger, and you're also able to throw spirit bomb-like environmental attacks while in this fighting style. As for the other style, it's very floaty instead. This was my favorite style because epic superhero jumps and teleporting are my shtick. Luckily, the varied enemy types give you a reason to frequently switch between the three fighting styles, which I appreciated. You can upgrade Kat's moves throughout the game. Unfortunately, collecting gems is the main way to do so, and that can be very cumbersome. While entertaining at first, going out of your way to get gems becomes annoying pretty quick. The game's pacing can differ depending on when or if you do side missions. For me personally, everything had a nice flow to it. I never felt bored or unintrigued. Speaking of side missions, a lot of them are much more action-oriented than the main story missions. However, a lot of the side missions have throwaway stories, unlike the main story, which I was entertained by the whole way, thanks to some unexpected twists and turns. Not everything has changed, including the camera. Much like the original, Gravity Rush 2's camera can get very disorienting. However, the game does rely on constantly switching gravity around, so camera problems are almost unavoidable. I did get a headache every now and then while I was trying to wrap my brain around gravity switches, although your experience may differ. I turned off gyro controls for aiming gravity kicks and it felt better without it, in my opinion. Along with the camera issues, Kat can feel a bit stiff in her movement, especially her floaty style, making it tough to traverse around the areas. Gravity Rush 2 introduces some surprisingly fun online features, along with taking pictures and home decorating, all of which go hand in hand. You're given randomly encountered online missions that are treasure hunts. After you find the treasure, you take a picture as a clue for the next real-life person to use to find the treasure. The treasures consist of gems, home furniture, and more. I thought it was a nice addition to the game and I highly enjoyed it. While Gravity Rush 2 does have the same camera issues as the first, the game brings a lot more to the table overall, probably thanks to the jump from Vita to PS4. Great story and characters, fun new fighting styles, and surprisingly cool online features. This is a game I recommend you play if you enjoyed the first game in the series.